Listen to the dreadhead trader with a grain of black salt. Do your own due diligence. Be your own DD. Be your own designated driver. You cannot trust everything I say 100%. Know I have your best interests and I always keep it 100. So this video, I'm gonna do this because I'm on a work break. I'm substituting at another school right now. I gotta prep with a lunch. Lucky me, right? This video is gonna be on how there's a huge generational gap between how we millennials and Gen Zers are literally screwed as far as having a chance to buy a house, retire, having a great healthcare system, also having a great interest on return with your money saved up in the banks, in credit unions. I'm pretty much going to go over Social Security as well. So before the 401k, if you don't know, there is a better retirement than a 401k slash Roth IRA slash 403b. This was called the defined benefit pensions. Baby boomers flourished with this, as well as silent generation workers. It came out in the 1870s, but it peaked between the 1940s and the 70s and also the 80s. But the 1940s to 70s is when it peaked the most. This is the reason why your great-grandparents or your grandparents are able to retire. They have plenty of wealth. They were able to buy houses at all-time lows during this era. And pretty much this pension was 100% invested in by the company. You as an employee back then didn't have to put in a penny, a single penny. And when you retire, they give you a flat rate that's guaranteed for the rest of your life. Every month you get a monthly check, a monthly pension, and you invest $0 down. The baby boomers that were early in the 1940s got in on this, and even the later baby boomers in the mid to the low to mid 60s slash early Gen Xers that were in the late 60s. So with that being said, when you're not able to afford a house, or if you're not able to retire or afford a comfortable living after you pay your bills, you're actually working hard enough. Don't let these old people, these baby boomers, these silent generation people say not working hard enough, because these two generations, especially baby boomers, had the defined benefits pension, which was a free pension, and they had the beginning of the 401k. So the 401k was created in 1978. It was released in 1980. And if you follow the stock market, as you know I do, this 401k was a great opportunity for workers to get a pension, but they had to put down a certain amount from your paycheck. The jobs will pull out 5-10%, whatever your deal is. And not only that, they used to match you more. They used to match you like over 5%. At one point, a lot of companies were giving up 10% as far as matching with 401ks. And now our match is only 1 to 3%. Hell, we don't even get matches at a lot of companies. Matter of fact, a lot of companies want you to work part-time, so you don't even get a 401k. So we now have to work harder than the silent generation and the baby boomers do now, because they're living off the pension and the 401k. So now the pension is extinct. Basically, if it's around, it's only because there's a lot of elderly people that are still working in their 70s and 80s that are grandfathered in. They're the last of the original dinosaurs to have a free pension and a great opportunity to get on the 401k, because now the stock market is completely inflated. It's at an all-time high. Same thing with crypto, same thing with gold and commodities, ETFs, you name it. So the same 401k that was made in the 1980s, it's rigged, because we're not going to get as big as a return, because now all of these stocks that are in the S&P 500 are at all-time highs. So we're not going to be able to get a great return. And on top of that, if you look at the 401k, where's my notes at, man? Because I took a lot of little notes on this. So as of this year, 2025, the max you could put down under the age of 50 on the 401k is $23,500. If you are over 50, you could drop another $7,500 a year. So that's about $31,000 a year you could put in. Okay, for those of us that are under 50, we need that $23,000 a year. So we're not going to be able to max out on that. We're only going to be able to put in the bare minimum, which is probably like whatever people do. I don't have 401k, whether it's $5,000, $10,000 a year. We're not going to be able to max that out. And with a Roth IRA, it's a lot more affordable. It's $7,000 a year max you could put down under 50, and only $1,000 to catch up on. So it's pretty messed up that they don't let you put up $1,000 to catch up on when you're over 50 with a Roth IRA compared to a 401k where you can catch up with another $7,500. It's because they want us to work forever. They're making this as hard as possible for us to be independent. The 403b is basically the same thing as a 401k. That's for nonprofits. Like, I'm a substitute teacher. I don't have a 403b because I'm not a full credential teacher. I have what's called a CalSTRS, and it's basically not that much for retirement, man. It's just a few racks you'll get through time. But moving on. You also have to include Social Security because this started in 1935. So the baby boomers and the silent generation also had Social Security. Lump sum payments started in January of 1937. Regular monthly payments started in 1940. And this still, of course, goes on today. Housing was only, before I get into the housing market, man, you know, probably in about 10 years, 15, if that, they're going to try to shred Social Security 20, 30%. So all the Social Security that we get pulled out of our checks, most likely, we're not ever going to get that money fully back. So that's the reality of it. Social Security is dying down. The original pension is extinct. We have a 401k that doesn't pay the same return. So let's get to the housing market. So the average cost for a house in the baby boomers era, I'm talking like anywhere from like the 50s into the 60s, all the way up to like the early 2000s, late 90s. Houses only cost 3 to 5 times their average salary. Meanwhile, us millennials, the housing market has inflated. So now an average price for a house is over $400,000. And the cost now is 8 to 10 times our average salary. So we literally have to make triple the amount of money or even 4x the amount of money to compete with the housing market that the baby boomers got in at a discount that was over 70% less of a price for them to purchase a house. So I don't have no ill will towards baby boomers or silent generation. You know, I respect the elderly and the middle-aged people, but when they start saying we need to work harder and we're not working hard enough, we're not saving, just ignore them. Don't even take them serious because they're not even doing the basic math, man. Like, these are all numbers right here that I'm reading out. These are certified facts, bro. Excuse me. So with the unions, this is the last part. I'm gonna explain the unions. So unions back in the day with the boomers, 1 in 4 people that were working in the 70s were in the union. Today, currently, 1 in 10 people. So with these jobs, they just used us pretty much, you know, to get their gains. So they used the baby boomers to get their gains. They made a mistake. They're like, oh crap, we accidentally made this generation wealthy. They're buying houses. And after Martin Luther King died and the civil rights movement, the redlining was gone, it was still hard for blacks and browns, especially blacks, to get houses, but they were cheaper. And with these work unions, they were looking out for people to get guaranteed pensions, to be able to keep up with the economy, afford housing, full health care, and guaranteed job security and overtime pay. Jobs are trying to shred overtime now, you know? And it's crazy because these baby boomers are so blessed to have a chance to work in an air that was going to take care of you 100%. And it's just wild to me, man, because even when you look at credit unions, man, like the credit unions and the banks, they were giving people like 5-10%. At one point, I think it was almost 20% in some banks back in their day to put money in a savings account, man. Now we get only 0.01 to 0.110% return on your savings, which is why I be telling people, get Robinhood Gold. They'll give you 3.75%, you know, and it fluctuates and go up and down. I got even as 5.5%. So having money on a brokerage like Robinhood or Webull or Moomoo, all that stuff is better than have your money in a savings account at a bank or a credit union. You're just not going to get a good return on your money. So my advice to y'all is just, if you're trying to buy a house, just do the math. If your job is not paying enough, I will just rent. And even if you do rent, just get a roommate. If you can't, move back at home with mom and dad, because it's not it. And with these jobs, you got to get some type of second career. You got to get a trade. Like for me, I'm a substitute teacher, right? That's my job, but I have flexibility. I'm a barber. I went to trade school because I knew I needed a skill that was going to get me through in case these robots take over everything, right? Any education system start cutting people and laying people off or whatever. Still not enough. I'm in California. So now I taught myself for the last 6 years how to invest. 2.5 years, I've been doing options trading, day and swing trading with options. And it just goes on. And you guys just have faith, baby boomers. Come on, y'all really gotta stop feeling entitled, quit being narcissists, quit acting like you're smarter than us, because you're really not. We got the technology. We have the internet as an advantage to learn quicker than y'all. The thing you guys did was work, and you had a great economy that boomed, and the game wasn't so rigged and manipulated. Now the numbers is worse than the Vegas casino for us to be able to have generational wealth. So with that being said, this your boy, Train G's with G. I'm out.